Welcome to a special edition of Femme Queen Crazy
Sexy.
Cool.
And I am your host, Temperance Chastity Moore.
And I'm your host, Asia.
And I'm your host, Tabitha.
What's up, ladies? Well, today we are sitting down with some of the who's who of ballroom and some of the top girls in the sex industry.
And we're having an intersexual conversation about sex and sexual health.
We're gonna get down and dirty with it. Okay, so let's just go ahead and start. Well, first let me introduce who we have sitting on the panel today. We have the overall mother of the House of Tishy, Giselle. Tishy.
Tishy da.
We also have the overall mother of the House of Gorgeous Gucci, the icon Lola.
Hi.
We have a legendary Chanel Miyake Mugler, the mother of Atlanta. We have another gorgeous Gucci in the building, Rakaya. And we also have the legendary Veronica Miyake Mugler.
Oh, yeah. Mugler.
Yes. Okay, so let's jump right into it. So question, I'll start with you, Giselle. After your first sexual encounter, how long after did you start getting testing, and what was your first testing experience like?
Okay, well, growing up in public schools, growing up in, I would say, like the hood or minority environments, HIV and AIDS was something that we were taught early on, you know, so I always was informed about what it was because it impacted my zip code. You know, I grew up in 32206 Jacksonville, Florida, Duval County, and so HIV/AIDS is something that impacted a lot of families. So at 16 years old, when I became sexually engaged, that was when I began to get tested. And so my first experience getting tested, it was traumatic for me because I went with a group of my friends that were all the same age, 16, 17 years old. And we were doing it just to honestly just do it, not really expecting anything out of it. But one of my friends came back reactive. And so it was just like a gut punch for us, and it was life-changing for us. And so that's when it became really real for me in that moment. So that was my experience.
Okay. And Veronica, what about you? Let's jump it over to you. That same question. How long after your first sexual encounter did you start getting tested, and what was your testing experience like?
First time that I got tested, I was 16, which was like 3 years after my first sexual encounter. The first time I did it was like 13, 14, very young. We weren't aware and we weren't taught about HIV or none of that, or condoms, let's just say. In my country, we didn't have condoms, and if they did, they were too expensive for the normal folks. I didn't get tested until I came to America, and the first time I did it, I went to the public high school, the gay high school, HMI, and it was kind of like a pretty easy experience, only because I was amongst peers my age, and the way they taught us and like prepared us in case anything came out bad. So we had counselors and everything. Asia knows because we grew up together, and they prepared us very well. And you know, the results were what I expected, so it was nothing. It was perfect for me.
And my next question goes to Rakaya and Chanel. When creating content, do you disclose test results? Sorry.
Not all the time, but I do.
Mm-hmm.
It's like certain instincts where it's like, most of the time I know who I'm working with.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a lot of times where I don't, so that's when I need to pull out everything in. But they got a couple of apps where you can share different test results, everything between each other. So therefore, you cannot disclose anything on OnlyFans unless you go through the proper everything you go through.
I would kind of piggyback off of that. If I'm working with an established content creator, then we go through the whole process of doing testing. But if it's like somebody I met at the club, it's never really a conversation. We just use condoms and just, you know, go about our day. So that's a must. When I'm working with content creators, we have to get tested.
We just want to say that we don't want to promote stigma here, so we're not promoting one result. We're just saying that it's best that you know whatever, because we know that you equals you, and if you are undetectable, you cannot pass the virus. But I just do want to ask this question, speaking on that, Lola. When you first started taking prevention medication, did you ever have any concerns that it would affect your hormones?
To be honest with you, I never even thought that it would affect my hormones because it wasn't told by the doctor that it would. Because usually when I go to get tested, it goes in with the labs of your hormones. So they never actually said, oh, this could affect like your body or anything like that. But now thinking about it, it is a medication that you have to take to prevent anything happening or any diseases or anything preventative for your body. And it clashes also with the hormones because everything is going in your liver and your body. So it's a decision that you have to make for yourself. You know, you always have to stay safe and protected. So if you know that you're gonna go out and slip up, then strap up. Either get preventative care or use condoms.
I always go by the theory of this because everyone is not negative, but we all still engage with each other. My motto is this: even though yes, we are legally supposed to disclose our status to people, that's what the law says. But in reality, I tell people. Everyone is responsible for their own sexual health. So if you do what you're supposed to do for you, then you don't necessarily have to worry about the next person. The main thing that I'm more concerned about is a person if they have warts or sores, things like that. But
But you know, HIV doesn't have a face.
the
Disease does not have a face.
You're correct. But what I'm saying,
you really have to be careful.
yes, and to my point that I'm making is, if everyone takes care of their sexual health, that means if I'm on a preventative, if I'm on PrEP, or if I'm on antiretroviral medication, if I'm negative or positive, if I'm undetectable, that means I'm of no harm to anyone. I can have unprotected sex with someone without passing the virus. That means if I'm on PrEP and I have sex with someone that is full blown, I'm still protected by that PrEP. So everyone is responsible for their own sexual health. So once again, if you do what you need to do for yourself, then we'll all be safer. And that's just a theory that I go by because that's the real world. That's the real world that we live in. Everyone is not going to disclose their status with you. So if you do what you need to do for you, then you'll always be protected to a certain amount,
And in all reality, anyone can get HIV, regardless of your sexual orientation, gender identity, or sex assigned at birth. Get tested. Know your status. So therefore, you can make an informed decision about prevention or treatment options. For more information or where you can go get free testing, visit HIVtestnow.com.
Testing is fundamental. And this has been a special edition of Femme Queen Crazy
Sexy.
Cool.